The Labour Party exploits the health emergency, the government sends the country into lockdown, and we talk about the self-employed and the support that they could get. Right, hello everybody. Hopefully you are keeping calm and carrying on. We are into the first official day of a lockdown. We are no longer allowed to leave our houses unless necessary. And so I hope everybody is actually following the advice. It's going to be quite tough in the next few weeks at least. So this is why I'm not going anywhere. Well, I can't really go anywhere. But we're going to keep you guys updated as usual and keep you guys entertained while we are all stuck in our houses. So let's start with the Labour Party. Everybody is usually chilled about the whole situation apart from the panic buyers and the Labour Party. They've decided to use this opportunity and this situation to start their political games, and which I'm kind of surprised, but I'm not fully. You have the Labour Party chairman Iain Lavery. He became an MP back in 2010, and since then he's been an edgy character, and now he's decided to slightly cross the line when he was doing a video call with a number of his Labour colleagues and members. Now, Iain Lavery has decided to say certain things in this video call that's been leaked. He's talking about this situation. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be losing their lives, and he said, but it's worth it because we can use this opportunity to attack Boris Johnson's government and get into power and have a Labour government instead. Is this really the time to do that? Yeah, so let's listen to what Iain Lavery said.
There's huge proportions, by the way. If something like this happens, then we're going to see lots of our own people dying as a consequence. But you know, apart from that, it's going to give the fantastic battalion of Labour Party members, community champions out there, a great opportunity of showing how Labour and why Labour is best when it gets on the front foot, and it's best when it brings people together. We need to make sure that we do that, and community organising, what a great opportunity it's going to give us. Every one of us, every one of our families and our relations and friends to organise in the communities, because there's going to be lots of people out there that really need our help. And it's free. It's free to organise.
Now, one issue I have is the fact that he's not really showing any humanity. He even said at the beginning that we are going to be losing, we're going to see lots of our own dying. He's talking about Labour supporters, Labour voters, and he said, but it's fine, it's worth it because this could still be a great opportunity for us to somehow get into power. I don't know how he's thinking that, but it's not the first time we've had recently in the last few weeks Labour politicians and people on the left saying these sort of things, and we had it from Remainers as well, who Remainers and the climate change, the ultra climate change nutters who have been celebrating, saying it's probably good for the planet. It's probably good. The Remainers are complaining. Well, they're happy that some Brexit voters are going. It's really dangerous language. And Owen Jones is also getting political. Owen Jones tweeted that we are about to watch the biggest U-turn in political history. Now, why did he say this? It was because the government, their strategy from day one, which was clear, the government was taking the health advice of the CMO and everybody, and they did say from day one that we could escalate. The route is direct, and we are gonna take certain measures, and at some point we might have to do a lockdown. They always said this, and when last night this came and happened, people like Owen Jones and Piers Morgan and Rory Stewart, they've been going around saying, "Ha! Told you so, U-turn." But this is the pressure that people in the media have been putting on Boris Johnson, and surprise, this happened. Now, the other thing that the government are doing yesterday, they put through a bill, an emergency bill, through Parliament, House of Commons, which went through. This is to give the government extra, really like ultra powers to control this situation. That we have officially, as I said before, nationalized the country and our citizens in these dark times. I'm going to show you the bullet points of what sort of things the government could actually do with this. So we have, they could allow the police to detain people and place them in isolation. They could shut the airports, reduce paperwork, allowing doctors to discharge patients early, allow ministers to close schools, enable councils to make best use of their social carers in deciding care levels, allowing recently retired staff to return to the NHS. Some of these sort of things have actually already happened anyway. And then speed up funeral arranging to manage the deceased in a dignified way, and more court hearings will take place via phone or video. Now, there's also more stuff that they could actually be doing. They could use the police to fully control our lives, and also monitor our movements where we are, to make sure that there are no big social gatherings. Now, there's a big debate going on right now. You have the libertarian side, who in principle they disagree, and then you have some libertarians that they disagree in practice how this is going to be happening. Now, the principle wise, I myself am a libertarian, right-leaning, classical liberal, and I usually don't like any of this sort of stuff. And if we had a Jeremy Corbyn government doing the same things, I would have been extremely worried. But I'm not as worried because it's Boris Johnson, and there's absolutely no worry in terms of having them keeping these measures. So this bill will last for 2 years, and until yesterday, that's all we had. But the libertarians who are worried about the practicality of it, I agree with them. David Davis and a few others, what they did was they pushed the government to actually review this bill and add a 6 months clause. David Davis and a few others were unhappy about the bill as it was, and they managed to make the government to add something new to make sure that it doesn't go too far. And now the government has attached a 6 months check amendment to this emergency legislation, which means in the next 6 months they could actually review to see if they want to keep it or not. Now, another problem that a lot of people have had was because this whole thing, which is about 300 pages, was written in 5 days, and it's a very rushed legislation. And again, there are worries that there might have been mistakes when they were writing this, and it depends what sort of mistakes. Former cabinet minister David Davis called for the bill to be rewritten in 12 months because there were likely to be mistakes in the 321 pages of this emergency legislation. He is concerned that the powers allowing the government to postpone elections could be misused. This bill was put together in 5 days. It is 300 odd pages long. This is what David Davis said. It is guaranteed bluntly that it will have mistakes and unnecessary elements to it. Those mistakes will all be in one direction, and that's giving more power to the government than is necessary. What's going to happen is we're going to have another one-day debate, and we're going to talk about the same 320 pages in 6 months' time. How is that going to work out? Are we going to amend the bill? We can't. There's no scope to amend it. Now, I agree with him that there are concerns, and at this point, whilst we have to be practical and listen to the government's advice, as we should always still question everything and everyone, including the government. On the other hand, the Puritans of the side of the anarchists or the libertarians who are just completely kicking off, we should be less worried about that, because these are certain weird times, and I'll rather go through this emergency legislation with Boris Johnson than, for example, Jeremy Corbyn. But we have had the lockdown now. We are on the first day. And if you don't know what sort of things we have to do or not to do, so we have the bullet points again: shop for basic necessities, exercise once a day, not twice, only once, any medical need to provide care, travel. You can still basically go to work, which is it makes this a semi-lockdown rather than a full lockdown. Obviously, all shops that are non-essential are closed. All public gatherings, more than 2 people, banned. All social events gone. Parks will remain open because of people exercising, but obviously the police will be around to tell people off and tell them to go home, and the police will have the ability to fine you if you break the rules. So yeah, we have nationalised the country. fun. So let's just hope that all these measures actually work and they don't go too far. Because even I'm worried that, if they go too far, it could be quite crazy. But at this point, let's not panic. There's no need to panic. We have other problems to worry about than this temporary measure. For example, we have the self-employed. A lot of the government is spending billions and billions of money on everything and everyone. And the self-employed have been feeling left out because we don't know. It's difficult because it's not a blanket policy. You can't just be like everybody, for example, all self-employed gets £1,000 a month. But finally, we heard today that the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, is going to be announcing more detail tomorrow, I believe. But this is the speech he made earlier in the House of Commons.
Well, I thank my honourable friend for the question. I will be making further announcements or progress on these measures. It's something that we have been looking at in intense detail over the past week in the Treasury. What I can say to him is we're in dialogue with all the key stakeholder groups, including calls I'm having today with several of those bodies. There are genuine practical and principal reasons why it is incredibly complicated to design an analogous scheme to the one that we have for employed workers, but he can rest assured that we absolutely understand the situation that many self-employed people face at the moment as a result of what's happening, and are determined to find a way to support them. We need to be confident that can be done in a way that is deliverable and is fair to the vast majority of the British workforce.
Now that's all good, but according to Guido Fawkes, the problem for the 5 million self-employed SMEs or sole traders is that many of them are limping along. The tax deferrals are welcome. They have just seen their income fall off a cliff. Taking out loans is just not a viable option for many. Otherwise, they are going to go on the dole. Yeah, so hopefully tomorrow we'll have more details when it comes to the self-employed and sole traders, so we'll give you the update. Well, today we had issues in London because our beloved Mayor, Sadiq Khan, before we got into the lockdown, when we were doing the semi-measures, he decided to use TfL to reduce the underground, the tube service, which made sense. But now that we have the lockdown, a sort of lockdown that people can still go to work, we do need to increase the tube service and the frequency of the trains, because we have pictures from this morning. Because the trains are not as frequent, everybody is actually it's really not healthy. You look at these photos, and we are trying to keep people in their houses, but those that have to go to work are now all exposed to this the problem, and I don't understand how the mayor isn't changing anything. His excuse is that he says a lot of the staff members have gone home. Considering a lot of other people, especially public services and central public services, are still working, I'm pretty sure we can get some people to actually drive these trains and, as we say, press the button. So I don't know, but he's not doing anything about it. That's his excuse, and he's just refusing to do anything about it. So that's a different problem with Sadiq Khan, and I hope he makes a U-turn. He's blaming the central government, even though he's in charge of the TfL. But we always said that we're going to give you one piece of good news and positivity at the end of each video to keep everybody happy. Today's good news is from Owen Jones. So Owen Jones tweeted, "So if your MacBook has broken on the eve of a national lockdown and your repair shop has accordingly sent you an email informing you that it is now indefinitely shut, what do? You've already given your computer to your repair shop in this scenario, and you're a writer, so you need this device to do your job." So silver linings. Owen Jones doesn't have a laptop to write articles anymore for the next few weeks. So yay. The less we hear from Owen Jones, the better. But no, jokes aside, this is not the main good news that I was going to give you. We do have a good joke outside one of the pubs that's closed now. In 2020, we thought we'd have flying cars. But no, here we are teaching people to wash their hands. It is quite worrying. But the actual good news and good clip that we have for you guys is supermarkets and Tesco especially are opening an hour early every day for NHS staff members, so that they could actually go and shop in peace. And this is a clip we have from one of the branches when people went in and they were given flowers as they came in to the shop, and the people also applauded and thanked them for their work. So see, not all is bad. There are some humans, some good humans out there doing some good things. So yeah, this is what we have for today. As I said, tomorrow we're gonna have more details about the self-employed and generally what's happening in the country and the world. Hopefully the Labour Party could behave and become more adults about this. And as usual, if you want to join our members-only live streams, live chats and support this channel, you could become a member of our membership club. The link is in the description. Or you could find the join button next to subscribe, or you could just go on your browser, youtube.com/mytc/join. If you're new to the channel, then don't forget to actually subscribe and click on the bell next to it so you get notified. We have a daily show at 5:45 p.m, which is free for all every day on MyTC. I'll see you guys tomorrow with a new video.